I just picked up a triple het. I'm lying. I picked up 2. What the heck am I going to do with 2 triple hets? Stick around, I'll tell you about it. What's going on, everybody? It is Adam at Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me today. If we haven't met before, this channel is all about my journey from ball python hobby to ball python business, and I document everything right here. Myself and my family, we're on our way, you know? So I got 2 triple hets. We'll get right to it. I'm going to show them to you in just a moment, although they're kind of underwhelming. They look normal. I'm still going to show them to you because they're exciting to me. I got 2 triple hets. I want to tell you, you know, it takes a whole lot of faith to make a significant investment. They weren't cheap. Matter of fact, individually or combined, they're the most I've ever spent on snakes. That was kind of a big leap on, you know, it's a big step forward for me on my projects, but also the philosophy and the mental side of doing this thing. I feel like I'm a little bit more and more into it every day. I'll tell you a little bit about the story real quick. I was looking very, very specifically for a specific set of triple hets, and I had a specific reason for it, and I couldn't quite find it, and it really drives me nuts because one had been on Morph Market, and I just assumed it would be there. I had a little timeline of when some money was coming, and a year end, and a new year, and some financial planning that I wanted to really just be disciplined about spending, and I didn't get it, and somebody bought that snake. So I started making phone calls to some colleagues in the industry that I've you know, good relationships that I've developed along the way. And this is a really cool part of the story. I called Jeremy Bod at Bod's Exotic Reptiles, and like without me missing a beat, he goes, "No, I don't have what you're looking for, but I bet I know who does." It wasn't even like, "Hey, just go talk to that guy." It was, "Here's his number. I'm going to put him in touch with you. I'm going to tell him you're calling, and I'm going to tell him who you are." That person was Steve Casino at Steve's Morphs. Turns out, man, I'm getting chills talking about it. Turns out Steve had not 1 but 2 snakes that I was looking for, and it wasn't quite in the budget, but sometimes you make the budget work. You know what I'm saying? We got the deal done, and then I won't tell too much of the story because it involves a little, probably some personal stuff for Steve. But Steve went hugely out of his way to make sure that I was able to pick up those snakes on the day that I wanted to. I got them in person, and Steve had some stuff going on, to say the least. That's an understatement. Still, through extenuating circumstances, made sure I could pick up those snakes that day. So strongly recommend Jeremy Bod and at Bod's Exotic Reptiles and Steve's Morphs. Both really, really good dudes to do business with. Let's take a quick look at these snakes. Visually, they're normal, so they're not, you know, overwhelmingly crazy to see. This is Kumba, Kumba. He's the male, and he's, you know, 120 grams or so, fairly small dude. And this is the female, and we call her Shikra. And we got the names because we picked these snakes up on one of our family Christmas gifts was that we got year-round passes to Busch Gardens. But on the trip to Busch Gardens is on the way home is when we picked up these girls from, this female and this male from Steve's Morphs over in Brooksville. So we thought what better time or what better way to name them than to name them after the roller coasters at Busch Gardens. Kumba and Shikra are our 2 favorite roller coasters at Busch Gardens, and that's how we'll kind of remember this special time of when we picked up these snakes. Those 2 snakes are triple het for pied, lavender, and VPI axanthic. I've seen lavender pieds. We know that's the dreamsicle. There's plenty of those out there. I've seen axanthic pieds, lightning pieds. Those are nicknamed for some reason. Check out Lucas Landon Royals. He's got some great videos on his projects there. And I've seen axanthic lavenders. We call that lavender snow. I've seen those, but I haven't seen lavender pied axanthic or snow. So that's kind of a neat angle too. I don't think I'll get there first, but it's pretty neat. What was the value proposition to me to spend that kind of money on snakes? Let's just say if you want to go search Steve's Morph Market site, you can pretty quickly find out what I paid for those, especially if you have a Morph Market account. You can search sold or on hold animals, and I'll let you go find it yourself. It doesn't really bother me. I'll tell you, I thought that the price was fair enough. I didn't haggle or negotiate. I paid the man and I got the snakes that I wanted. I thought it was a good quality product at a good quality price. Everybody's happy, right? The value proposition in ball pythons in general has to involve odds, the math of what you're going to breed, and then time and money. For me, that's what it has to. And time is really important. Time you don't get back. You can always find ways to make more money and you can always buy more snakes, but time you don't get back. So if you can essentially buy yourself time with advancing your projects, and the value of time versus money, it works in the favor of time, it's almost always worth buying it. With that being said, don't go into debt, don't go hungry buying snakes. You will burn out, you'll flame out, and then you'll have no money. That's not a good situation. So the value proposition for me on buying these snakes is kind of as follows, and in no particular order. Believe it or not, it's not about necessarily producing triple visuals. I would love to, but let's not get this mixed up. If I wait the 2 and change years till they'll be ready to breed together, that's 2 years. Let's call it 2.5, because you still got to lay the eggs and blah blah blah. Let's say that's 2.5 years. We breed those two together, it's only a 1 in 64 chance odds that I'm going to hit the triple visual recessive of pied, lavender, axanthic. So if that's not the, and that's less than 2%. It's very small odds. I can't just rest that investment on less than 2% odds. So why in the world did I buy those? Well, what I did was increase my odds with opportunity. Before I bought those snakes, in my collection with axanthic, pied, and lavender, I have 8 other snakes that are either breeding or coming up to breeding in the next season to 2 seasons that have those genes and that would have various directions on those projects. So what it does is it gives me versatility to advance those projects, whether it be for a visual to a het to het, trying to prove out possible hets. If I count the possible het, that then turns into 9 animals as well, and it increases the potential value of the offspring. The offspring value is a little bit tricky and it's fairly small, because if you're producing possible hets, I actually don't charge extra for possible hets. It doesn't really, you got to be upfront with your buyer and negotiate and that sort of thing, but possible hets don't do that much for me. 66% perhaps, maybe. In that batch of 8, and let me give you some context too. I have 26 snakes right now, so to say that 8 snakes out of 26, that's 30% of my collection that's going to be compatible with these 2 snakes. And the male-female combination is really especially great, because that combination of 8 snakes, of those 4 are male and 4 are female. And now I have resources to put all of those snakes to use. I don't know what the exact plan will be, because between now and when they're ready to breed, we know things will change. So I'll make a call in the moment. These are going to be incredibly versatile animals to add into my collection and to be breeding. I want to get that male ready to go as soon as possible, because I do have visual females that'll be great to breed with him. The other things that I can do down the line in the future are, as I start producing visuals, 66% hets, I could be breeding those back into the project and just increasing the odds. So stick with me here. In that same 2 to 3 years, if out of those 8 or 9 snakes, I managed to produce a double visual along the way, a double visual het axanthic, so a dreamsicle het axanthic to the female triple het, I go down to a 1 in 16 odds of producing a triple visual. Still not great, but that's 4 times better odds than the 1 in 64. So you see, again, the value proposition for me is increasing my overall odds, increasing the versatility of these projects, without the focus being producing a triple recessive. It could be producing visuals, double visuals, and any combinations of those along the way, likely hets or certain hets along the way as well. All of these things provide value both to my projects, but also to my business's income, and hopefully to my customers. I mean, there's not a whole lot, I can tell you firsthand, there's not a whole lot of triple hets out there. This is kind of the new horizon for me. I think in 5 years we're going to be talking about double, triple. I think we'll start to see quads emerge in the next 10 years. That's a cool new horizon. I think we all love the idea a little bit philosophically of producing world's firsts. But if you think about the math, we all should be able to produce world's firsts. I forget exactly how the math works, but if you took all the morphs and multiplied it by all the morphs and what's the word? Is it the fractal? Fractional? No. The total possibilities of snakes that could be produced with just the genes that we know about is well into the trillions. Trillions. There's only like 8 billion people on Earth. So, I mean, the opportunities for what we don't know and to what to go discover out there are incredible. And as we know, recessives are, they're very popular, but they're still relatively new to the hobby, and the amount of time required to put into recessive projects has made that even newer and even less explored than our codom counterparts. The versatility in having the male and the female. So the female, obviously, I can't really do anything with her for at least 2 years. I've got to grow her up and take care of her. She's going to be a long-term project. The male, on the other hand, if he grows and develops this year, I can work him in fairly quickly. You get a little bit of a quicker return on activity, fulfillment, gratification. It's not instant, but it's quicker. The value of furthering my projects, increasing my odds of value, and increasing my odds as I continue to breed the offspring of these with the full and possible hets. I want to make good decisions right now because I'm not going to get this time back in the future to go back and fix any missed opportunities when it comes to hets and recessives. That's kind of my outline of this year, of why I bought these, of what I'm planning to do this year. And otherwise, it's time to get down to work. If you follow these videos and check them out, you'll see where our progress goes and where our projects go, because we document it all right here on the Proper Royals channel. Thank you for watching, and until next time, see ya!